Hello, everybody, and thank you for listening to another episode of the No Fluff MSP Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Tahir Hamed. Got my co-host here,
Stephen Badorf. Welcome back. Woo. Yeah. Really excited this time.
Yeah.
Who knows if that comes through on the audio? It's cheering. It's crazy applause.
It'd be really awkward if that doesn't come through because it would have just been silence.
Yeah, well.
Hopefully it came through.
Imagine applause.
Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. We're not smart enough to figure that shit out.
Very true. But we are smart enough to figure out advertising.
Yeah, well, not quite, but some of it. So today's episode is all around advertising. The longer I'm in market, wow, my first sentence I messed up. The longer I'm in marketing, the more confident I become in this statement. All businesses should advertise. Every single one of them.
Yep. There's not an exception.
No exception.
Everybody wants to think that their business is the exception, though, I feel like.
Totally.
Yeah.
And every industry wants to think their industry is
Yep.
the exception.
Oh, it doesn't work for us.
No matter what size or industry you're in. Well, obviously, if you're listening to this, we know what industry you're in. But speaking generally, it don't matter. You should be advertising. I had this conversation often with people like my buddy that owns a jiu-jitsu gym. He's actually my coach. He owns a gym I go to. And he's like, I don't know if ads work for jiu-jitsu gyms. I'm like, yeah, they will.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know. I'm like, well, they will, but that's fine. I mean, you don't have to. But
You don't have to, but they will.
they will. He's like, I don't know. I tried it. I'm like, what'd you try? He's like, I don't remember. It's like, okay, well, then it probably wasn't good. I was like, did you get a really nice video of like your gym and it had like a story behind it?
With
and
awesome
it's like
B-roll,
really
yeah.
well produced. It's like, well, I didn't want to spend the $4,000. It's like, okay, well, that's why it didn't work. Not hating on my coach. He's like literally one of my heroes. It's just like that sentiment is what I hear all the time.
Yeah.
I remember I was helping a window and door company, and you know, obviously the organic side was already driving a bunch of leads. I was like, we should start doing ads. They're like, oh, we can barely keep up as is. I'm like, well, that's all right. Get a backlog. Mm-hmm. We turned on the ads because I created this badass video. I mean, I'm still impressed with myself. I know that's terrible to say because everyone needs to be humble, but like by myself with a camera while I was working a full-time job, I got an ad that like should be on TV. And that's the ad we used for a Facebook ad. I didn't use it for TV. I just used it for a Facebook ad. So it instantly hit when somebody saw it. They're like, oh, this is a really nice, professionally well-done video. In Polk, it says Polk County. The company has Polk County in its name. So it instantly was like, oh, wow, not only is this well done, like that's the county I'm in.
Yeah, I'm there.
Back to associations. Back to associations.
But a video is going to do so much better than just like driving down the road and seeing a sign for a window and door company.
Which is what people try and do.
Yeah, but now you have a video and you drive past it, you go, hey, that's that TV-worthy video company. Yeah. I haven't seen that one. I need to see it.
I'll show you. And yeah, so MSPs, I hear it all the time. Ads don't work. It's like, well, what did you do? It's like, well, I paid a company to run Google Ads, and they're spending $3,000 a month, and I just got a bunch of people wanting computer repair. It's like, all right. Well, sounds like they didn't do a very good job running the ads.
Yeah, and you check the ad, and it's just a static post, which is like impact font.
Yeah.
Is your IT bad?
Well, Google with this, it's some of the search terms. So like they would search it, and it would be like the text come in. There's only so much variation you could put in there, but like maybe they were going after keywords like computer repair, which would be dumb. That should be a negative keyword on that ad.
That happens a lot too.
That happens a
the
lot.
Keywords just aren't.
Not only that, but oftentimes I see ads being run and they click on it and it doesn't go to a landing page. It just goes to the homepage. So they might have searched a thing around cloud and then they click on the keyword cloud that MSP has paid $40 for, and then it lands on the homepage. It talks all about IT services.
Us. Yeah.
Or about us. It's like, wait, there's the consumer needs to land on what they expect to see.
The bounce off factor, I think we figured that out too as we started creating more landing pages. Like the bounce off factor, you want to think, oh, they'll jump on our homepage and then they'll search for cloud in the above menu or something like that. But that's not going to happen. They'll go to the homepage, say, oh, this isn't what I clicked on.
Peace.
And then they're gone. Yeah.
That's one thing I've been noticing about our SEO clients. It's super cool, especially as we get more of them, is all of the benchmarks. Like we're seeing, it's so interesting. Like I'm not really that big of a data person. I'm more on the creative side, but like being presented, because Genesis presents all the data, it's really cool. It's really cool to see, okay, cool, people that came in from ads, their bounce rate is so much higher than people that came in from search. Like it'll
Gotcha.
show you,
Yeah,
analytics
such
will
a
show
short
you
time.
like, hey, people that came in from organic social, this was their bounce rate. People that came in from search, this was their bounce rate. People that came in from paid ads, this is their bounce rate. And it's just so cool to see where the bounce rates are.
Is ads the highest of the ones that you've seen?
Yeah, usually because ads are cold most of the time.
Your attention needs to be caught immediately when you go to the page. And if it's irrelevant, their time's up. Yeah.
Exactly. So usually ads are a pretty high bounce rate. Like people might go in and, oh, it's not what I was expecting and bail. And so like that's great data. If we make changes and see that bounce rate went down, sure, we haven't got a lead yet, but that's real measurable data. So showing, okay, cool, we're keeping somebody here.
Time on page is massive.
100%. And so just some interesting statistics around that. So backing up a little bit, my point is ads will work for every business in every industry. It's all about what type of ads you're running, how you're running it, how it fits into the overall strategy. We oftentimes spend so much time creating a beautiful site. I know so many MSPs that spend $10,000 on a new site and it stays static for 10 years. It's almost like a theme, the $10,000 10-year website. I see it all the time. And it's like, well, yeah, your static site isn't going to do much for you. I'm sorry. I know you spend a lot on it. I know it's pretty beautiful, but like,
it might look great.
It's static. It's not doing anything. I see people spend a lot of time, money on creating landing pages that could or could not convert, but they look good. Excellent social media content. Holding an event that takes a lot of time and money. So they'll do all this stuff, and then they'll stick to only organic to promote it, which was me back in the day, by the way, I should say. I'm not hating on you if that's you. That was 100% me. I ran very little ads for a long time in my career. So we're making it harder on ourselves. You know what I'm saying, Steven? Like
Absolutely.
we're putting all this time and effort in, and then like we're gonna have the audience that's already in our audience or that are only searching at that moment see it.
Yeah. And it's not cohesive. I mean, if it's not a cohesive thing of the ad to the landing page to the website, like you need that every time. And it's relatively easy to input when you know the pieces that you need to put in.
Yeah.
But as we say, everything, it's the effort to get it done.
So it's like that, but that's the point, right? We put all this time and effort in, we don't put ads towards something, then we're just waiting when people are in the market, right? Or we don't get enough data quick enough to see what changes we need to make. Now listen, I'm a massive fan of organic. Obviously.
We made that clear on the podcast.
If you've listened to this for any amount of time, like you know I'm all about organic, I'm all about inbound, obviously. But advertising provides more audience to what you've built. It provides more audience to what you've built. Mm-hmm. And why is that important? It provides fast feedback. Organic, inbound, SEO, it takes a long time, right? Like, especially when you're new at this, you might only get 200 visits to your website a month at first.
Yeah. I have a quick, like, kind of tangent on it, too. I was just thinking, like, you would hope that, like, businesses would, like, sit down, put on their glasses and say, okay, I'm going to take this hour to look at IT companies, and they'll jump on your homepage, and they'll scroll through all the pages, that kind of stuff. But that happens so rare. Like, you have to basically take that attention with ads because they're focusing their day. They're not breaking off an hour of time usually to evaluate an IT provider for issues they're having. They're focusing on their core role at their head office or something. And they don't have time to do that besides when they're scrolling on their page. It's a pain point they're thinking of, oh, my IT is not working great. But you need an ad to pop up and say, oh, targeted directly to that, because that could break up their attention. And if they click on that, go to a landing page about that specific pain point, right there, you've kind of caught within basically like a 5 to 10 minute bubble in their day, their attention.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen otherwise if you're just only relying on organic.
It's going to happen, just not as much
It's
as
much
we
slower.
want. Yeah.
Yes.
Like that's
Yeah.
why SEO is 100% variable. Like not just SEO, but inbound in general, it's variable because it's the warmest prospect. That's because it is that person taking that time to really put the time to look into that. And that's why they're the warmest, they close the best. There's so much value in that. But you're right. Like the people that may not be, they might be open to the problem. Ads is such a good way to kind of get in front of them.
Yeah, just if they're like really focused on their main role and they want to take that time to be that super engaged, warm prospect. And maybe they are a warm prospect once they come through that ad and they go through the right landing page because you know exactly what to talk to them about. Yeah.
Here's a good the the difference between a marketing mind and a sales mind, and neither are wrong, by the way. It's just an interesting anecdote that happened recently. So me and Stephen Young, I'm obviously a marketing guy. Stephen Young is a sales guy. We're really good friends, and I feel like we're both pretty good at each of our respective fields. Now, obviously, I have done sales for a long time. I've closed hundreds of thousands in MRR. Like, I know how to sell. It's just I'm less interested in it, I guess. And it's funny because we were talking to a group who are amazing, and we're going to be helping them with marketing and sales. But it's just funny the different approaches, right? After the meeting, the next goal was to schedule another meeting. I'm a marketing guy. I didn't really follow up that much. I think you should follow up, but I was like, you know what? You know, one of them's having a lot going on, and like I can always follow up in a few weeks. Steven is the sales guy. So he was persistent on, hey, when are we getting that next meeting? Obviously very professionally, very excellent follow-up. And it was so cool to see his sales process in motion. And my process is like, well, I know they visited my site. I know they're seeing me every day on Facebook.
Yep. And they'll think about you when they have an issue.
I'm top of mind. I know one of them said they're going to start listening to my podcast. Like, I already know based on the marketing that we're doing, like, if they want to move forward, they're going to reach back out and move forward because I'm all over the place now, most likely. And it's funny because when we got back on the call, thanks to Steven, right? So, Steven Young, not you. So claps to sales for doing what sales does, which is get that meeting. So he clutched the meeting, and then when I was on the call, multiple of the group who are friends now, they're awesome, super excited to work with them, was like, I've been listening to your podcast. I really like what I'm hearing. So he was kind of sold on. I was selling with. We were not selling, but like he was consuming content to validate what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And everybody else, if they have Facebook or Instagram, saw my stupid face every day when they logged in, right? Because they probably visited the site. So it's just so funny the difference between marketing and sales. But if I wasn't running those ads, the retargeting ads, then I could be less confident that I'm staying within their minds.
I don't think we would be as confident. Yeah, because like
Totally
that's just
not.
such a big peace of mind piece where it's like, oh, if they're engaging with us at any part of this process, they're seeing the sequence we built up of the ads, mentioning the Scout Plus membership, mentioning what we're providing, the templates. Like, it's been so nice since we started doing that, since like you ripped off the Band-Aid of like, we're paying for ads now for MSP Camp. Yeah. And it took a bit to pay off, but like now it's a very consistent, reliable piece.
I remember when I was at Alltech, I would meet with a prospect. I got a text because I try and get to that cell phone. We talked in a past meeting, but like the levels of comfort a prospect has with you. And the minute you guys are texting, it's like that deal's going to close. And it's funny because I would get I got a text from this prospect, and he sent a picture of my face on his Google, and he's like, I can't get away from you. And obviously he was joking, but he was also like, you're everywhere. And it's like, dude, the minute you visited my site, I'm going to be all over your ass with different content. And so like, even if the only advertising you do is making sure you have a pixel on your site and people see you on Facebook and Instagram and Google and potentially even LinkedIn now, if that's all you're doing, you are beating 98% of other MSPs. And don't tell me you don't know how to do it. I don't want to hear that, especially if you're the marketing coordinator. Like, don't even think that sentence.
Yeah, it's so well documented for every type of website builder that you could possibly be using.
We have content on it.
We've done
There's a million videos
YouTube's
on
done
it. And I'll tell you what, all I do is I jump on Upwork, I hire Mitch to set up the Facebook ads with the conversion tracking and the pixel, and then I get to just focus on content. So like, if you're the marketing coordinator, you 100% can't say that. Like, get over. You need to put your figure it out hat on. I don't care who you are. You're going to put your figure it out hat on. If you're the owner of the company, well, yeah, you shouldn't be setting up retargeting. You shouldn't. Just hire somebody to do it.
Yeah.
Just boom, there you go, done. Oh, all good. Now you're in the 2%, like that. And you can allocate $300 a month to it or less. And you good.
Yeah.
That's it. We don't need to overcomplicate this. Stop making excuses not to market your business, like we said in the last episode.
No, it's true. And you can't sit there comfortably and be like, oh, I'm top of mind. Like, even if they're on their website for a bit, you feel good, but you can't sit there and be like, oh, I'm top of mind without having ads follow up. Because like, they're not just going to, I don't know. They probably see so many web pages and businesses at a time. So if you're not following up with them, like, you could have been super impressive to them, but they're going to say, oh, what was that MSP's name,
100%.
time's gone. Yeah.
That happens to me all the time.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's just
Like I literally sent Jen, it's so funny. I sent Jen a website yesterday. I was like, I don't love this website, but I love how when you hover over the tabs, like it like there's this motion that happens. And I was like, we should please look at this. Like, let's add it into our best practices. I like love this. And it was like an hour later, she replied and said, you didn't send the link.
yeah.
Well, guess what? I don't even remember who it was.
You couldn't find the site.
I'll never know again. I mean, I guess I could go to my history and find it, but I ain't going to do that shit.
Yeah.
But if they're retargeting me, it's like, oh, it was this company.
No, and it was something that impressed you too. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. It was someone I like spent a lot of time on. I was like, I really like this.
But there's so much content and pages. Like,
so the quicker feedback is so good because back to the point of on like, especially your website, you might only get 200 visitors a month at first. That's not enough. The sample size is too small to make any reasonable changes to your website.
yeah.
But the minute you start doing ads, like
It's a lot
the
of new
minute you
eyes.
start doing ads,
Yeah.
like you get so many more eyes. Sure, maybe not every eye is the kind of person you want on the site, but like you just get a bigger feedback loop of what changes to make. Like, is this converting or not? Like, so ads can identify much quicker if your website, offer, or content is good or not.
Yep.
With ads, I can make changes within 2 to 3 months because that feedback loop is so much quicker since there's so many more eyeballs in the thing that I'm trying to market or sell. So that's how we figured out Facebook ads. I ran some ads for 2 months. I put a bunch of money towards it. It wasn't working. Instead of saying this doesn't work, I changed the ad profile. That still wasn't working. Okay, tried a different one. You know, this was a 6 months iteration process. And then it was like, boom, this one hit. Perfect. We're going to use this one.
Yeah.
And then when we make iterations, we now know that this format is the one that works best, which is typically video that catches attention and carousels.
It's impressive how much information you can glean from that. I mean, even just for like, as we're talking about the pages earlier, I mean, within analytics, I always just super value the process of like, here's how long somebody spent on the page. Because you can have it there and have like, oh, my homepage, people are only there for like 15, 20 seconds. But when an ad goes directly to a landing page on an industry, they're there for 2 minutes or something. And is it, okay, so I need to, 1, update parts of my homepage, or 2, really move into always targeting to a landing page.
Yep.
I mean, it really reveals a lot about just like how people act. I mean, how long they're willing to stay on your page.
Yep.
And a lot of times you can point out like, oh, this page looks great, so the keywords and stuff must be lacking. Or this page's information is super strong, but there's no polish to it. You can really find a lot about it. And it's all from the ad getting them there.
Yep. And a specific tool, if you're the marketing person or if you're owner really interested in marketing or salesperson really interested in marketing, there's a tool called Hotjar. I'm sure you've heard of Hotjar. It may seem overwhelming because it's like, well, I got 50 visits this today. Like, how am I going to go through 50 different people that visited the site? Don't worry. Hotjar will say, hey, these are the most likely that were prospect. Like, here's the most important ones. So it'll kind of filter like which ones you should look at. Like, these are the ones that are on the page over a minute. So don't worry. Like, I know no one is going to go through everyone that you're not going to go through everyone that visits your site and see like what they looked at, how they looked at, blah, blah, blah. But Hotjar makes it easy. Like, hey, these are some of the ones you should look at. And then you can see like, did they even look at the testimonial section? Like, did they almost fill out the contact form and then leave? It's a super cool tool. And actually, back to the last episode when I was talking about the Pareto principle, we actually have Hotjar on all the sites, but we haven't spent enough time looking at that data. And I'm actually going to be hiring a full-time person, and their entire role is just to look at what are people doing on the site and why, and how does that help to not only refine that website, but our best practices overall.
Yep.
Because one, I just don't see agencies doing that. I see agencies downloading Hotjar like we did. And I don't think I've ever in the history of anything ever saw an agency sit down with the client and say, hey, here's the Hotjar report.
And maximize the value of that actual tool rather than just offering the tool in your, I don't know, tent of tools.
Yeah.
Whatever you call it.
So not only do I think it is going to actually drive results, like I'm very confident it's going to drive results, but even if it doesn't, the aesthetic of sitting down with a client and like part of the 9-page SEO report goes on, there's also like, hey, here's a Loom video of us going over your Hotjar and shit we found and changes we're going to make. Like, even if there are no results from it, like the client's going to be like, damn, that was badass.
No, it's making SEO less like nebulous and just like, oh, SEO is this mysterious thing. It's like, no, SEO is people on Hotjar coming to your site and we've aggregated it for you, that kind of thing. Like, it's breaking apart those pieces.
But it's not just SEO. Like, this just for the ads too. Like if an ad brings someone to the site, now Hotjar is going to be able to show you like
Their
this is
journey,
what that
basically.
person, this is the journey that person went on. So if you're running ads, I almost recommend, or excuse me, I almost require that you should get Hotjar.
It's a great tool.
Because you're spending more money. I mean, SEO is mostly free except time. So, or if you're working with an agency. So, all right. To wrap up this point before we move on to the next point, as soon as you can get leads from your MSP organically, you should start allocating ad spend, period.
Yep.
That's it.
Nothing else to add to that one.
So there's more to this episode. Don't bail on me yet. But as soon as you know you can get leads from your website organically, you should start allocating ad spend, period. Now, what do I mean by organically? I don't mean if you got a referral and they came to the website. That is not what I mean. I mean when you call that prospect who fill out a contact form on your website and they said, I found you through Google, I landed on the site, I like what I saw, and I submitted my contact form. The second that occurs, begin mentally allocating ad spend.
Yep.
Because you're like, cool, I have a converting website.
This will work, yes.
Even if it's just one, right? Because again, as we get ads, more people on the site, that should grow exponentially, God willing. You know, we'll kind of see. And if not, we make changes based on Hotjar and other data because we have more data coming in because the feedback loop is quicker because you're getting an audience faster and larger. Make sense? I hope that whole section makes sense, and I hope it's firing you up. All right, couple things. Anything on that before we move on?
No, I think you nailed it.
Google ads and Facebook ads are excellent for MSPs. They're excellent. We're seeing agencies getting leads for MSPs for Google ads. We just started running Google ads and we're seeing conversions already. And this is a brand new service. Facebook ads, we've been running for MSPs for over a year, and we are seeing conversions from Facebook ads. And Facebook ads, top of the funnel. Like Facebook ads, you're just trying to get people aware of you. And we're actually seeing people going through the ad and converting on the site. Now, let's take a step back. No matter what ads you're running, it's going to be between $1,000 and $2,000 to get a lead. I mean, there have been some Facebook ads where we've gotten it for like $500.
It's usually settled around that.
Yeah, but number. It skews around $1,000 to $2,000. That's just the truth. I'm sorry. That's just the truth. Like maybe somebody's tweaked the algorithm enough to get it much lower than that. But we're looking for kind of bottom of the funnel. So let me explain this a little. Google ads are bottom of the funnel because someone is searching. Their intent is extremely high. Mm-hmm. I need help with my IT.
Yes. Now, usually.
Now.
Yeah.
Facebook ads is top of the funnel because like you're just trying to get awareness. You're trying to get people's attention. But how we set it up, we make it lower in the funnel. How do we do that? If it was true top of the funnel, what we would do with the Facebook is we would put in a lead form. We'd say, do you want this, cybersecurity checklist, or do you want this thing? Do you want a report? Give me your email and I will give you something in exchange. That's a good way to do it. Lead forms are a great way to do it. But we don't do it that way because what happens on Facebook is, you can get a shitload of leads that way and they're, oh my gosh, we're getting $10 leads. The problem is you got a lot of sifting to do because a lot of times it's just people, not businesses. You got to spend more time than I've ever wanted to spend, and you fill your CRM with a bunch of emails that are going to bounce. And like, I know some people find success that way, but I'd rather skip all that noise.
Yeah, it's the quantity approach.
Yes, that's the quantity approach. I don't like the quantity approach, but it works somewhat. You just got to work harder, and if you have a full-time person that can scrub all that shit, go for it. What we do is when we're running a Facebook ad, the conversion is not give me your email. The conversion, the only time we're going to track a conversion, or there's lots of ways we conversion. I don't want to get too technical. There's lots of ways we track conversion on a site, but the conversion we care about, and that's what we actually quantify, how much it costs, is when they fill out that actual contact form. I'm ready to be contacted about your IT services. And that's why we get the number we do.
Yep.
So what do they have to do for that to occur? They have to watch the ad or see the ad or look at the carousel. They got to click into it. They land oftentimes on the homepage with Facebook ads, right? Because it's top of the funnel. We're usually not doing too specific type ads. So oftentimes we are doing a homepage. Although on some of the live action videos, we have these separate. Yes. If you're a leader member in MSP Camp, please for the love of God.
We're very proud of these. Yeah.
Go, if you're a leader member, go to the live action video section. Look at the new ads we just posted in there. Look at the landing pages. That's all you need. That is all you need to start running Facebook ads like today. So my point is, in some situations we do landing page. So they have to watch the ad, click into it, read the landing page, the homepage, wherever they land, and then submit the contact form. You might be like thinking, well, wait, marketing's supposed to make it easy. You're supposed to, why create so much friction? Creating that friction is a good thing in this scenario because that person has to qualify themselves.
Yep.
We want them to have to go to the homepage. We want them to read and make sure they're in the right spot. Like, are you looking for business IT support or not? Because that's what we are. And I want you to know that before you give me your email.
Yes. And you want Facebook to optimize for that buyer persona.
Exactly. And so that way, when you get a conversion through a Facebook ad in that sense, now it's a qualified business that needs business IT support. That's how you've warmed up that lead, and they're closer to the bottom of the funnel. So and that's why you have to pay more. That's it.
Yeah.
If any of that was confusing, just rewind it 5 minutes. Yeah. Oh, I don't have a rewind button. We'll do the trombone instead.
Okay, we're rewound now. Yeah.
So just rewind 5 minutes and re-listen to it because that's it. That's the mentality we got to think of. You don't have to do it that way. You can do the lead capture form, totally. But that's the way I've done it to keep life for our clients easier.
Yeah, it is the thing because it's like if you just do it like, oh, a lead is somebody who clicks onto the ad and goes to our homepage. Like you get all the fun numbers, like, oh, the numbers are so high, the graph is going up. But then at the end of the day, I mean, it's kind of just like smoke and mirrors for the fact that no leads are coming through for it, and it's just like you're saying, sifting through leads that might be junk compared to like the numbers are going to be much less in your face if you're doing like they have to go through everything and fill out the contact form because that is much rarer. But when Facebook can say, oh, this is the type of person they want. It's exponential almost in the way I've seen it of like how leads come in over time after that. I don't know if you've seen that on the SEO side.
Yeah, because you're teaching Facebook like, hey, this is a real conversion. This is what we want. So Facebook goes, okay, we'll find you more of that. It's good
at figuring it out.
We'll find you more of that. Facebook is so damn good at it. It's kind of crazy. All right. I've heard good things about LinkedIn, but we haven't quite cracked that code. And it's not.
It doesn't work. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, LinkedIn doesn't work.
Imagine if we said that after all the previous episodes.
That'd be so funny. That'd be the most hypocritical thing of all time. And that's why I specifically wrote here. But it's not that LinkedIn advertising doesn't work. It's not that it doesn't work. We just need to put more time and energy into figuring out how to get it
that works on there. Yeah,
and we will. That's just not a this quarter thing to figure out. We got enough shit on our plate right now, right? But that's coming. In addition, YouTube is a great option, and you can even use streaming services like Hulu to advertise now.
Elaborate on that. I'd never heard of that.
Totally.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's funny. I was actually talking to Chris Weiser about it.
Like you post out your ads through what platform?
Yeah, like you can sign up as like a Hulu advertiser and say, hey, I only want people in this area to see my ads. Or if they visit my site, I want them to see my ads. Again, retargeting. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's funny. I was talking to Chris Weiser, and we were chatting about some stuff. And I know some people don't like Chris Weiser, do like Chris Weiser. I don't really care. My point is the dude knows how to scale businesses, so I'm more than willing to talk to him, and it was a great conversation, so I don't, I think people who don't, I don't really know. I've had a good conversation with him. So my point is I was talking to him and I was like, look, I remember when I first got into Facebook ads, it was because of you. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, I remember getting ads from 7-figure MSP on Facebook. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like he really targeted me. This is probably like 5 years ago, maybe 4. And then the next day I got another ad from him and it said, hey, I know you watched my other video on blah. And like, if you give me a couple minutes, I'll explain blah, blah, blah. And I just sat there for a second, dumbfounded. Because this was before I started running ads. I was all organic and inbound. And I was like, this dude, one, showed me relevant content that I watched. I watched the whole thing. And then the next day, he made it even more personal by saying, I know you watched that ad.
Yeah, the effort demands you to pay attention.
Dude, basically. I was blown away. I was like, this dude knows his shit. And so then I contacted Austin St. Jean because I knew he was in Facebook ads. He showed me how you do it. It's like, oh, all you do is you set up the main ad, and then you can actually set the retargeting not only to just somebody that visited your site, but you can say, if somebody watches at least 30 seconds of this video, then you can show this video. And I was like, oh my God. Like it just blew my mind. Like it just blew my mind. So anyway, I was talking to him the other day, and he mentioned the Hulu thing. I'm like, man, you really are on the forefront of like what advertising would be good. So, anyways, props to him for giving us that tip. All right, cool. Let's wrap up here. Anything on any of that before we start wrapping up?
Oh, good. That's interesting, though. I never even
thought
about that as an avenue. That ties in really well with our previous episode, too. Just all these new avenues of advertising and information in general. Yeah.
People always consume content. How it's consumed is different. We just got to be there. The foundations will always be the same.
Cool.
We spend about $2,000 a month and get tens of thousands of impressions every month of people who are being introduced to us for the first time, affirming we're still around and relevant, and converting people that may have been considering us for a while.
Yep.
If we just relied on organic and inbound, everything would be slower.
Absolutely.
Now, of course, there are nuances. When we look at the data, members that come in from advertising don't have the same lifetime value as those that listen to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real life statistic. Members that come in through advertising usually don't have the same lifetime value as those that come in from the podcast.
Yes.
Or from a referral from a friend, or from a referral from a camper. So yeah, advertising is not as good as inbound. It's not as good as the magnet we're creating around MSP Camp. But it's a bunch of members we wouldn't have got if we weren't doing it, and a good portion of those members are just as sticky as the referrals.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, it's skewed down because a lot of people, they'll jump in, okay, and then they'll bail, maybe a month or 2 months. But there's a lot of people who came in from advertising that have stayed just as long as people that came in from organic.
Very true.
And as a MSP, guess what? It doesn't fucking matter. Because when they sign up, they're not leaving you.
Yeah.
That's why it costs so much to get an MSP lead, right? The lifetime value is insane. It frustrates us as MSPs, right? It frustrates us. It's like, you hate your current IT provider. You told me you hate them. They hit you.
We're a good IT provider. Yeah.
Like, you have scars. Like, why are you not leaving?
Yeah.
So if you're a good MSP and you start advertising and get somebody, it doesn't matter the lifetime value of a membership site because they're sticking with you. So let's just get them on the hook. Yep. And advertising is a great way to do that.
Absolutely.
Whew. Hype.
You fired up? Yeah.
I'm fired up. I'm ready to start running some new ads right now.
I would love to start making some new ads.
Let's go.
We've got some funny ones in the pipeline.
Oh my gosh, dude. The last 3 ads. Have you published all 3 yet?
Do you mean the live action videos?
Yeah.
Yes, the last one went up today, actually.
Okay, nice. Yeah. Listen, if you're a leader member, you need to go in there and you need to look, even if you don't use them, just watch the video because you'll see how a good Facebook ad should look. I mean, it's awesome. And we're about to run all 3 of those in Lakeland, hyper local. We're going to put a pretty solid budget to it just in Lakeland. And everybody in Lakeland is going to show the chaos we're about to unfold. And then we're going to get some real data on kind of all 3 of those. How much does it cost to convert? Blah, 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 blah.
Super interested in that.
Yeah.
And we'll report on it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? If one of them doesn't do as well as the others, we'll let you guys know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's completely transparent.
Yep.
But if one does well, we are going to be the most annoying people of all time. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we already have a bunch more of those coming out. So
they're awesome.
Yeah. So ads, to summarize this another long episode, every business should be running ads, even if it's just setting up retargeting where when somebody visits your website or visits your social media, they're going to see you again. And make sure it's your face, ideally.
Yeah, retargeting is it's probably a big chunk of that 80-20 that you were talking about, right? Like the retargeting piece of ads. Would you say it's primarily a lot of the value?
The only reason I would say no is because a lot of people that get on the retargeting came from cold ads.
Gotcha. So you think a mix?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Solid mix. So,
so maybe 40-40.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the retargeting has a shitload of value, but it requires,
prior work
and ads to get them there to even get on that list.
True.
Yep. And retargeting just kind of moves that cold audience a little bit warmer. So we'll use different content for that retargeting because they already know about us. They've already visited our site or maybe whatever. So
and retargeting, I think it applies to, this is my last point on it. I'm just thinking retargeting also benefits a lot from not staying static. As a website would. If you're updating them more, it's only going to contribute to a warmer audience.
Yeah, even if you update it monthly.
Yeah.
We have 6 different ads in our retargeting. And we update it. Not as much as I want to. We really should be updating more. But anyway. All right, cool. I hope that was helpful. Hope that gets you fired up. Advertising is not a silver bullet. Let me make sure I say that. Every business should be doing it. It is not advertising is not a silver bullet. You're not going to start advertising tomorrow and all of a sudden get a shitload of leads banging down the door to work with you. It ain't going to happen that way.
If you do, tell us.
Yeah, if you do, please let us know what you're doing. But you have to build the foundation, like we always preach. You got to have a really nice website that converts. You got to be creating other content. You got to be building a reputation. You got to be getting reviews. You got to make sure that when someone finds you, you look super legit and legitimate. When you add advertising on top of that, it's an accelerator and just helps get more audience to your site. And if you got Hotjar, you can kind of see what that audience is doing and what changes you need to make. And then over time, that's that perfect inbound system. I consider advertising inbound. That way, when you ever do start outbound, like cold call and direct mail and everything else, studies have shown over and over again the businesses that have a solid inbound, the things that we've talked about, outbound is easier. It takes sometimes half as many calls to set an appointment if you have a lot of reviews and a really nice website and a really nice digital word of mouth. I know sometimes that sounds a little ambiguous, but all the foundational stuff we constantly preach about, it is easier to set outbound appointments. So that's where you start getting this inbound, outbound machine, which we've talked about. And I recommend you go and listen to that episode, inbound versus outbound. And yeah, so that's why every business should be advertising, including your MSP. You're not different. And anything else before we wrap up?
Nailed it. And I think a part of the help, I said nailed it, and now I'm giving you another point. But I was just thinking once you start thinking of inbound and outbound as two pieces of it rather than separate. I'm doing my inbound piece, my outbound piece. When you think about them working together like that, I mentioned at the end, it makes everything a lot easier in my opinion.
100%.
Cool. Now I'm done.
Cool, y'all. Well, one more point. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks, y'all. We really appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one.
Next one will be a fun one.
Star her out.
Peace.
Peace.